And time now for another check of your weather forecast. Brittany, thankfully, we will not have severe weather this weekend like we experienced earlier in the week.
Yeah, and honestly, that QLCS is a perfect example of those storms that came in on Wednesday, causing that quick spin up tornado. Yes, none of that here in the near term, but we are going to see a few more opportunities for rain by the end of this week. More, of course, on that coming up throughout the show. Here's a look at our current wind gusts. You can see pretty breezy up in the mountains. As I showed you, the maximum in Charlotte was in the mid-30s earlier. We're since starting to see that die down a little bit, and that's because the cold front is starting to push to our south. So you can kind of see places like Shiraz still seeing that southwesterly wind, whereas behind the front, more of a northerly wind movement. Now, unfortunately, because the winds have been gustier today, we did see a slightly elevated fire danger index really for the second half of Saturday, but this will continue into tomorrow too. Thankfully, because of the rain earlier this week, not as much dry brush that is, and vegetation lingering, but the humidity is still very low, and of course the winds are still very gusty. So we'll see a high to very high risk for areas in the mountains and across the Piedmont today and tomorrow. You can see highest for those Piedmont or for those foothill communities. That is, pretty much everyone this time of year is normally moderate to high, so slightly elevated at this point, but at least not extreme yet. We will of course see how much rain we can accumulate over the next week as we do bring in a few more opportunities for rain. You know, you never want a ton of rain in a short period of time because that causes flooding, but also because we're in such a rain deficit right now, we do need a little bit, not just to help with the fire danger, but also this pesky pollen that just doesn't seem to be going away. Here's your satellite and radar showing clear conditions right now, but we are going to be tracking a small chance of rain entering into Sunday. Now, this is going to be a really kind of complicated system. We're not going to see a risk for storms, which is the good news. But what's going to happen is we have a low pressure system south of us. So we're getting the tail end of some of the clouds, some of the moisture. But because the air here, way high up in the atmosphere, is saturated, a lot of this will actively see rain falling from the clouds. But here, closer to the ground, the air is going to be dry. So at a maximum, heading out the door Sunday morning, maybe as you're getting ready for church plans early in the day, you might encounter some of this patchy light rain and drizzle. So the moisture is there. The question is whether or not it will reach the ground. At this point, it's looking very unlikely that this will be a big impact, and all of it would be over regardless by about 1 o'clock. But a secondary system comes through on Monday. This will be a slightly better chance for rain. I do think tomorrow's looking around 20, whereas 30 to 40 is a better risk there for Monday. Neither day is going to be a complete washout by any stretch of the imagination, but we're talking Monday more of a light rain activity versus tomorrow, mostly drizzle and mostly very early in the morning. And of course, you can't forget that tonight is the night that we spring forward, which means we technically lose an hour of sleep, but we only gain a few minutes of daylight. Remember, daylight saving time is just when we shift the sunrise and sunset times either forward or backward. So you technically don't gain an hour. That will happen over a series of weeks and months. So your new sunrise time tomorrow morning going to be 7:41. Again, that's why we technically lose an hour of sleep because you're springing forward. And then the new sunset time around 7:30. So tonight will be the last time that we see a sunset prior to 7 o'clock until October of 2025. Here's a look at your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Again, tonight's the time change. You can see I did enter that 20% chance of rain for tomorrow's forecast to equate for that chance of drizzle early in the morning, better chance for clouds and a few showers on Monday, and then we are quickly rebounding back to Tuesday and Wednesday, highs near 80, better chances of rain arrive heading into the following weekend.
Definitely looking forward to those temperatures hitting nearly 80. And to help you get ready for the time change, tonight on WCNC Plus, our latest episode of The News Now shares tips on how you can get ahead of daylight saving so it doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks. That is tonight starting at 11:30. Be sure to download the WCNC Plus app on your favorite streaming device.